Hey guys, Marsingit here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video. And so one of the things that we have been talking about recently, I mentioned it in the video I made the other day going over all of the EZAs for the 9th anniversary, is that as we get towards the end of the anniversary, you can see we're looking at the JP timeline here for part 2. We get the part 2 banners with the Gammas and Beast Gohan. We get these awesome 6th year anniversary EZAs, as well as the EZAs for the free-to-play units. But then as we roll into the final part of the anniversary, which is usually called the EX part, sometimes they call it part 3. But as we roll into this final part of the anniversary on JP got the EZAs for the STR Goku and Vegeta that fuse into Vegito, and the physical Bootanks that transforms into Buuhan. Now, obviously, as you all know at this point, I'm sure already, because unless you haven't been playing the game for a while, I suppose, these EZAs came out early for Global during Golden Week. So you can see here, obviously, 26th of April 2024, during the Golden Week celebration was when these EZAs came out, and there they are listed for 1st of March 2024 for JP as the final part of the anniversary. So this means that there is a gap at the end of the anniversary where something would have dropped for JP, but that Global isn't going to get, because obviously we've got it already. And this happened once in the past. I can't remember now whether it was the 7th. I think it was the 7th anniversary, where the EX part of the anniversary, this final part here, JP got the free-to-play AGL, LR, GT, Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. And then Global got them early as part of some other celebration. So then when we got to the end of the anniversary, we got the Tech Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the TUR. We got his EZA as a Global first. I think it came out on JP not long after that, but it came out on Global in this slot at the end of the anniversary. So obviously something is going to come to fill this gap. And when people have been speculating about all sorts of different things, we talked about it in a previous video, right, with the fact that a lot of people with the Tanabata stuff going on JP, a lot of people really want to see UI Goku come to the game early for Global. And then of course there's also Cell Max, because he very much fits the Super Bosses theme. I mean, the anniversary theme is basically superheroes and super bosses, right? So these two characters obviously meet that category very nicely, right? We've got the superheroes Goku and then the super bosses Cell Max. Both of these guys releasing would be massive buffs for the teams during the anniversary, but as we talked about in one of those previous videos, I'm not sure how I feel about the idea of them adding an extra banner to the end of the anniversary instead of extra content. Because remember, an EZA is not just buffing a unit so we can use them, right? And obviously if the EZAs are good, use them in the difficult events, use them on the new teams and all that kind of stuff. But the EZA event itself gives out stones, right? And with this EX part of the anniversary, this was 2 separate Extreme Z battles. So this is 66 stones? Yeah, because the beat stage 7 mission on an LR EZA is 3 stones. So 66 stones. Now obviously JP Global has already gotten these stones because we've already had this event. But instead of giving us an event that not only buffs units but gives stones, I don't really like the idea that they put in another banner, which is a place where you have to use stones. So if you've gone ham for like Beast Gohan in part 2, you're not going to have a lot of stones left, and then all of a sudden they drop like UI Goku or Cell Max. Cell Max would be slightly more preferable because as a yellow coin banner he does have a pity thing, so you could basically be guaranteed to get him. But again, if you've gone all in for Beast, are you going to have enough stones to get to the pity for Cell Max if you don't get lucky with the summons leading up to the point where you get enough pity coins? So obviously you guys can see from the title and the thumbnail of the video, and this is something that I've seen quite a few people talking about, but when it comes to the anniversary overall, the Reps of Universe 7 team is getting a significant amount of buffs, right? Because we have the AGL UI Goku gets an EZA, in Blue Evolution Vegeta gets an EZA, the physical Blue Kaioken and Blue Evolution get an EZA, and of course STR UI Goku already has his EZA as part of the countdown to the celebration. So again, no surprise, it's the thumbnail and the title, but what if they replace these 2 LR EZAs here with these 2 LR EZAs here? Now these have just come out on JP, and of course they are part of the Tanabata celebration, part of the Tanabata content, but Remember that with what was announced on the Dokkan Now, even though it wasn't a huge amount of information, a lot of people were disappointed. It kind of confirmed what we've been thinking for a while, something that Truth has been saying for a while, that the games are going to sync in terms of the release schedule with the worldwide celebration, but global is still going to be missing some content, which means that that content is then going to have to be dropped in somewhere else. So when it comes to obviously the banners like for example for the Tech UI Goku are going to have to be dropped in somewhere between two banners that are coming out, right? Because the banners will be coming out on both versions at the same time. So after the worldwide celebration, both versions of the game will then get like a new Dokkan Fest and potentially Heroes, who knows. But then global is going to have to drop maybe between those two celebrations or something, this UI Goku or Cell Max or something else, right? So Cell Max is an easy one to do because global got most of the content from the Rosé celebration coming not long after JP got it, aside from Cell Max. Like we got the physical Goku Black Super Easy A, we got the Trunks banner unit, we got a couple of the other bits and pieces as well. The second stage mission for the Hit Domain event that came out towards the end of the Rosé event is coming out straight away on global when the stage comes out for the anniversary, so it's going to release with both stages. So Cell Max is kind of the only thing left, really. There might be one or two other like missions and stuff, but Cell Max is like the only thing from that celebration, so they could drop his banner in the middle of two other things and then not have to worry about the fact that it also came with a bunch of events and Easy A's and stuff like that, because global has gotten most of those already. And then of course UI Goku, they could do a similar kind of thing where they drop his banner. Obviously he has the banner unit Dispo, but then if they've dropped some of the events and like the Easy A's from the Tanabata celebration as already as well, then it's just the banner that has to fit in between those two mini celebrations, right? So that's still awkward. It means more banners to summon on for global. Hopefully they would brace us for Impact a little bit for something like that by maybe giving out some extra bonus stones, but who knows. So if they're going to drop just the banner so that it fits in easier, then obviously something that would make sense would be to drop these Easy A's a little bit early. And of course with the anniversary buffing the Reps of Universe 7 team as it does, as we've already mentioned with these other Easy A's, it would make perfect sense for these guys to get their Easy A's as well at the end of the anniversary, and then that Reps of Universe 7 team would be incredibly good, because both of these guys got very, very strong Easy A's, right? The Team Universe 7 massively raises attack for 1 turn, does colossal damage, and raise allies' attack and defense by 30% on their 12 key super. Then the 18 key is Mega Colossal, raises allies' attack and defense by 30% and chance to crit by 7%. So if these guys get an additional super, they're already raising allies' attack and defense by 60%. And then of course, should they get any other additional supers, then that buff carries over. They get a decent defense start of turn. They build up key and crit chance and damage reduction per Reps of Universe 7 ally on the team. So full Reps of Universe 7 team, they have 5 extra key, 35% crit chance and 35% damage reduction. Then they get attack and defense 77%, chance to perform a crit 17%, and reduce damage received by 17% when there are 5 or more Reps of Universe 7 allies on the team. So already, with the buff they have there, if you've got the maximum allies and then you've got the 5 allies on the team anyway, that's how you'd get that buff in the first place. They then have a 52% damage reduction just straight off the bat. They change key switches of a certain type, int excluded, to rainbow when HP is 77% or less at the start of the turn once only. Then they get an additional attack and defense 77% when key is 17 or more, additional attack and defense 77%, and launch an additional super attack when key is 22 or more. But then the big thing for that is they get an additional 3 key per rainbow orb obtained, and they create rainbow orbs. So getting 22 key with them is not really that difficult most of the time, right? So they're getting all these extra buffs. All allies key +1 and attack and defense 7%, self-excluded, and chance to crit 7% per key sphere obtained. So on average with a rainbow orb changer, you're looking at usually getting like 2 or 3 rainbow orbs guaranteed. Sometimes you can get 4. It's very rare you can get 5. but they'd still be giving allies 3 key and 21% attack and defense, which is very, very good. So post super, with all the defense raising and stuff that they do, and with the damage reduction that they have, they can be very, very tanky and a very good support unit. They also have an active skill that does damage to the enemy and gives all allies 7 key for that turn. And considering that this team, basically if we got these EZAs, the Reps of Universe 17 would pretty much just be a full LR team. And using that active skill would essentially give everybody on the turn probably guaranteed 24 key supers, because most of them do have extra key mechanics or orb changing or something like that, right? So very, very good. And then these guys that just got announced on JP, their EZA is not actually out yet, but they were in the data download, so I've already seen clips from them from the private server. These guys seem crazy. We talked about their details when they dropped on a live stream. I don't think I made a video talking about their details, but these guys are actually crazy. They only raise attack on their 12 key super, but their 18 key is greatly raised attack and defense for 1 turn, Mega Colossal, and greatly lowers attack and defense, which of course can be useful in some events. Attack and defense 177, key 7 and reduced damage received by 50% for 1 turn from the entry turn. So on their first turn, they have 50% damage reduction. They get 2 additional attacks, each of which has a high chance to become a super. Then they get an additional super with a great chance to crit if HP is 77% or less. They get key 1 up to 7 and attack and defense 11% up to 77 with each attack performed. So they've got to attack 7 times. Plus they get an additional 1 key up to 5, attack and defense 20% up to 100 with each super attack performed. So they've got a super 5 times. But that means these are going off at the same time. So they do the first super and they get both of these buffs. Then if one of their additionals is only a normal, they'll get this one. But then if the next additional is a super, they get both again. So they can build up quite quickly. And then they have chance to crit 17% and damage reduction 17% within the same turn with each attack performed. So it's not super, it's each attack performed. So on turn 1, where they remember that they're always going to do 2 additional attacks. So worst case scenario, they're just normals, but they're always going to attack 3 times in 1 turn, because you get their key, they do their super, then they do 2 additional attacks. So every turn, they're going to be getting, what, 51% damage reduction. On turn 1, where they get 50% for turn 1, that means after they've attacked on the first turn, they can't take damage. Well, they take double-digit damage, right? But it also means on all the following turns, they're getting to 51% damage reduction at a minimum, but then if you get this, where they're below 77% or less HP, they get another guaranteed attack, so that puts them up to, what, 68? And then if you get the hidden potential as well, even if it's a normal, that's another 17%. And with these guys always doing 2 guaranteed additional attacks, you have 3 chances of proccing the hidden potential additional for them. So it'll be very likely, even if it is a normal, if you've given them a decent little bit of additional in their hidden potential, they're going to get a 4th attack like every turn, which means obviously AoEs are not going to be ideal for them because they're getting all of these buffs on super. But if you're consistently hitting that additional, even if it's only a normal, they have 68% damage reduction after supering or after attacking. I've seen clips of them, I think it might be the active skill turn, but I've seen clips of them from the private server tanking like the hardest boss super attacks in the game for double-digit damage. Like the new Vegeta from one of the events on JP, the STR Gogeta from the anniversary event, fully built up Kid Buu, they've obviously got type advantage as well. And then their active skill, the active skill turn is where they can go crazy because they get key 7 and 77% defense, which is multiplicative. So once you've gotten all these buffs, and they've attacked like however many times they need to attack, their start of turn defense is going to be relatively high, and then they get 77% of that added on top when you use their active skill, and then you get a 50% raise when they do their 18 key super. So even though they don't raise a defense on their 12 key, their defense plus the damage reduction gets high enough that they can tank almost everything. And one of the clips I saw from today on Twitter is them doing like multiple, I think it was with the 77% or less HP turn, so they get the guaranteed additional super, but I think both of their additionals got the high chance to become a super. So they did their 18 key, I forget what the attack stat was, and then their additional supers, it was like 16 million, 17 million, 18 million, which are building up crit chance as well, so the later attacks are all critting. So these guys are actually really, really good. They're like a top tier LR with their EZA. So if these 2 EZAs came to global at the end of the anniversary, that would be an absolutely fantastic buff for the Reps of Universe 17. Unfortunately, they're not on superheroes, usually because of Frieza being in the card. But with the Reps team getting the buffs that it does, it would be very, very good. And even these guys, right, they only need 5 Reps of Universe 7 allies on the team. So if you were running a, like say for example, you could run a superheroes team where you're running either Beast Gohan or you're running AGL, Physical LR Gogeta, and then the rest of the team being the Reps of Universe 7 EZAs that are on superheroes. I guess it depends on the leader skill, because obviously these guys aren't on superheroes, but you could make a team, I suppose, if you're using like AGL UI Goku or Blue Evolution Vegeta, depending on the other characters that fit under their leader skill, you can have one non-Reps of Universe 7 team character on the team, which means you can throw one of these other units like Beast Gohan or somebody on this team as well, and then this team's going to be absolutely ridiculous. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. What do you think the possibility is that we will get these 2 EZAs as the final part of the anniversary to replace Buhan and Vegito? If you don't think it's going to be them, who do you think it will be? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. So that's going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.